Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Elemental Maker. Today, check out this beauty. Just picked this beauty up for free off Facebook Marketplace. I was dumbfounded when I saw the listing. It was just posted like 3 minutes before I saw it. Jumped on it. It was apparently the first one. Immediately loaded up the trailer and went out and got her. And if you know anything about small engines, that's a Honda GX390. That motor alone, I think the list price on it is like $950. Obviously, a used motor you could probably still sell for a couple hundred, a few $100, something like that. Very good, very reliable motor, the Honda GX series. Now, the reason he got rid of it, he said it stopped working. He said the motor would still run. He said that could probably just use an oil change. But he said it stopped producing voltage. It was still enough that he could plug in a drill on one of these and run it, but he said it wasn't producing 240 anymore, which is what he had hooked up for his house. I guess the guy must have had more sense than money or whatever. He said he just went out and got another one, so I mean, he must be in a pretty sweet financial situation. But let's see if we can fire this thing up, get the multimeter on her, and see what she says. Alright, first order of business, let's get her fired up. Turn on the fuel. Gas looks a little old, but still actually looks pretty good. I think we're already on choke. Turn that to on. That's on. It does have electric start, there's no battery. Well, there was, but totally dead. God damn. Started up on the first freaking pull. Are you kidding me? Even if the generator head is total crap, this is a huge win. Unbelievable. Now, before I get too far into this thing, I want to send a huge thank you to James Condon, who runs a YouTube channel here. And he does tons of generator rebuilds, so I actually reached out to him to help troubleshoot this. So please check out his channel. He does some awesome builds, very thorough explanations, nicely done videos. So he definitely deserves a lot more subscribers. I'd recommend checking him out. Great stuff. So looking at the generator head here, you can see the stator cover is a little proud off of the what is that, like a bell house, whatever, the engine adapter housing, the bell housing, whatever you want to call it. So it's definitely been removed, I would think. The owner did say he took the generator head cover off, but it looks like he probably also took the stator cover off as well, and maybe removed the stator. I'm not too sure, but the fact we're getting some voltage out of it right off the bat, and you can see we were getting voltage on both legs. That is a great sign. So this might end up being a pretty easy fix. Rotella. I run Rotella in just about everything I own. I shill for nobody, but if they offered me, whew, let me tell you, I'd be on my knees in a heartbeat. Wait till you see what I just saw. Holy shit. Thing's practically still a virgin. 128 hours, it's brand new. Alright, so we're here looking at the ass of the machine. And we'll pop the cover off the back here. That was pretty loose. Although the owner did say he was previously in here looking around. So we'll see if he bodged any wire connections or such. It is very dusty, but I don't think any of the, I was worried with all the dust, maybe one of the stator coils or the rotor coils got fried, but that does not look to be the case. Let me see here. Yeah, all the coils look good. Really good, actually. So we know it's not any of the breakers. We know the motor's good, and that's operating. I did check the hertz on it. It's putting out 62 hertz. So we know the motor is rotating in the correct ballpark. So that's not the problem. The coils all look healthy. Let me actually try to get you guys in there. Remove this piece here. Oh, that was loose. That was real loose. So this here, I think right now, is my #1 suspect. It's called the AVR, Automatic Voltage Regulator. That is the factory unit. There is a chance that maybe he was playing with these connections and messed one of them up. I think that is right though. We got our neutral connected to the ground, which is, this is a floating ground machine. Now it does have a proper grounding terminal, so we can actually ground it to earth for connecting it to, for instance, the house panel or something like that. And we got the 2 legs coming from the stator. So my initial thought hearing it was that one of the armature or rotor windings was probably bad, because I thought he was only getting output on one leg, but I thought it was full output. What we are getting is half output on both legs, or less than half. It's like 47 volts. So what I think is happening is one of the major issues of generators that are stored is a loss of residual magnetism. So the rotor in there loses its magnetism over time, and when you start your generator up, it just won't make anything. And what you can do is hook a 12-volt battery up to the armature, get a little juice in there, re-excites and aligns the atoms, and you get magnetism. And it should work right away. You can actually just plug an electric drill in there and give it a twist start, and that should give you a nice kick to get magnetism back in your coil. Here, what I think is going on, it's putting out 50 volts, which might, or 47, which might just be its non-excited state. So I think that voltage we're seeing is just from the residual magnetism in the armature, but I don't think it's getting any more to further excite the field, which it should be getting. So basically this here is a feedback loop mechanism. So it takes some of the juice coming off the stator there, and I think this is probably AC going in. I don't know for sure. Yeah, I think that's AC going in. Probably some sort of diode bridge in there, and probably a series of resistor divider circuits. Get it down to a nice easy voltage, and there's probably an op amp in there that basically tells it when to give extra juice extra juice to the rotor to further excite the field to jump the voltage up to the 120 or 240 we're expecting. So in talking with James, he did mention one reason that these units go bad is because of high resistance between the brushes. So we have a little brush assembly there and the slip rings, which, let me see if I can get a shot here. So right there is the brush assembly. And you can see the AVR is actually plugged into that, and that's where it gives the armature additional, or the rotor additional DC to further excite the magnetic flux, which increases your voltage. And let's see if we can view the slip rings here. Well, there's one of them. You can just make that out. There's one of the slip rings. Another one right behind it. And those are what the brushes rest on. And it does look a little dirty, surprisingly dirty for 128 hours. So That may have been our failure point. High resistance between the slip ring and the brushes, causing the AVR to fail. So guys, this could be a $30 fix. So, I'm just going to take a little bit of Scotch-Brite to the slip rings. Try to get them cleaned up a little bit. Pull the spark plug, obviously, so you can turn her over freely. And that makes life a hell of a lot easier. I can just hold it in there. Looks good and clean now. Still a couple little tarnished areas, but not too worried about that. Also got new brushes to put in there. So here we are about a week and a half later. Amazon, finally, I actually ordered 2 of these. This is the only one that's gotten delivered so far. It seems like with Amazon's guaranteed delivery date, it's more a guarantee that if it doesn't show up, they'll just tell you to gargle one of their underpaid employees' taint sweat and tell you to go play hide and go fuck yourself. So here we have our new AVR. Here's the old one. You can see minor kind of differences here. Both have a potentiometer for adjusting your output voltage. Obviously the OEM has been kind of epoxied into place. You can also see on the new one our capacitor is larger. It's a 450 volt versus a 250 volt. The capacitance is really what matters. They're both 470 microfarad. The nice thing with the additional voltage there is you just have a little more room for, you know, voltage spikes, that sort of stuff. Then again, this is probably some cheap Chinese capacitor, and it's most certainly a knockoff of a Chemicon Nichicon. You can also see the original has what looks like 2 MOSFETs, whereas this one only looks to have one FET, and it does look to be a little bigger, so maybe that's where they're making up for it. Heat sinking is equally shit on both of them. It actually kind of looks nicer on the shitty knockoff. These ones are just bent pieces of crap. So we'll plug this in, see how it works. The other thing that that was noted in my conversation with James, who thank you again, was that he believes the AVRs typically fail due to buildup on the slip rings. Basically, the additional resistance causes the AVR to have to put out more voltage to overcome that resistance, and eventually it just burns itself out by trying to put out more and more voltage. And you can see here on the original brush that brush has some pretty funky looking marks in it. So I did order some new brushes. I'm sure this could still be used, but if anything's embedded in there, I don't want it screwing up the next AVR. So got ourselves a new brush. Just a standard OEM replacement. So that's the game plan. Let's go throw these into the generator, and fingers crossed we'll have a good running Jenny. Well, thankfully the AVR came in just in time. Supposed to get a nor'easter tomorrow, and given my house's track record, we'll probably lose power. So this couldn't have came at a better time. I'm gonna put the new brush assembly in. Oh man, my hands are just about frozen solid. It's colder than a witch's tit. All right, there we go. Get a bolt in there. Use some thread locker. And what I'm gonna do now is just plug the AVR in, and we're gonna have to adjust this potentiometer to get our output correct. So before I bolt it in, I want to be able to adjust that to the proper I guess no load will look for like 122 volts, something like that. All right, there's our AVR plugged in. Let's fire her up and see where she lands. Oh, she's cold. Running beautifully. I do need to adjust that pot. There's no load. Beautiful. Look at that. Generator doesn't even notice that. All right, guys, got her back in the garage here. Got her rear end all buttoned up. And all that's left, I just got to throw the new battery in it. But she's a runner. So that is a massive win. That is not a cheap generator. That's probably at least $1,000 generator there. And as much as I hate the American mindset of it stopped working, I need to throw it out and just get a new one, here's one instance where we have benefited from that American disposable mindset. Got ourselves a practically brand new generator, less than 130 hours on her, and perfectly working. For a $30 part. That AVR was 30 bucks. Of course, I also got a new battery, which was about 40. So, and of course the brushes for 8. I also got a new spark plug and filter, air filter. So all in, we're probably right around 100 bucks for this thing. So, I mean, you can't beat that. Got her running like a top. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy the channel, please consider supporting it on Patreon and adding the Amazon affiliate link to save that as your Amazon homepage, and it'll help the channel out big time. With YouTube ad revenue constantly going down and down and down, any help is genuinely appreciated. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a great one.